this. So, what are we talking about? Anything and everything?
Yeah.
Life?
Yeah. Tell me about UFOs first.
Oh, shit. You put me on the spot. So,
What's your personal opinion about it, and what do you think that they want the rest of the world to believe?
you put me in a tough spot there. So, I used to work in a skiff. I was in the Navy, as most of the people that know me know. And after I did military service, I contracted for the DoD for several years, and then I started contracting for various three-letter agencies. Um, but anyway, in the contracting world, I actually had a pretty great. I loved it a lot. I In the Navy, I was a RM, radioman, and then they converted us to what a rate. So, like with the Army, they have MOSs.
Okay.
In the Navy, they have what's called rates. It's your job classification. But I was a communication guy. Dealt with satellites, radios, things like that. I was a commo. So after I left military service, I took up my trade and I moved that into the contracting world. And it actually opened my eyes a lot. And one of my contracting jobs was I used to work at a Bureau Air Force Base in Northern California. It was a site. It was a paved site. Basically, it was a 14-story radar site. And what they did is they commissioned a lot of these sites all around, all around the world. They during the Cold War, they used to track ICBMs. So whenever they were launched from Russia, Cuba, or wherever, they would, fly out of orbit, and then when they come back in orbit, they would track the trajectory of where it's going to land. So after the Cold War ended, they had all these radar sites, and they like, man, what are we going to do with these? So then they started using it to track space objects.
Oh, shit.
And that's as much as I can say about that. Have I seen real UFOs? Yes.
Yeah.
I remember one particular time, and I've only told this story probably 3 times because people think I'm crazy. I was in northern Iraq one time. I was on a mountain called Sinjar, and this is when I was at one of my contracting jobs, and I worked in SIGINT, which is signal intelligence, and we did a lot of we worked with a lot of different equipment on collecting intel. And anyway, so we had a sensor site on this mountain, and I really can't say too much about what was there, but one particular night, the only way on and off this island is by helicopter. So in the middle of the night, and there's nothing around, like literally nothing. Sinjar Mountain is pretty close to the Syrian border, and there's nothing around for hundreds of miles. And they sent me and 3 Army guys up there, and so they flew us on the Sinjar Mountain. They dropped us off, and then the helicopter flew away, and we were literally stuck there for 3 days, like literally. So I guess the first night, I was outside. I couldn't sleep, and I noticed this big old sphere, like off in the distance, and I just noticed it just was there stationary. It was huge. It looked like an egg. It was like yellow white, and I sat there and I watched it, observed it for a good while, at least an hour, and then after a while I started noticing that it was starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I watched it for at least 3 or 4 hours. And within this 3 or 4 hour time frame, and then not once like leave, refuel. There's nothing in our military arsenal that something can just stay stationary. Our UAVs, and I know a lot about UAVs because I used to work with them a lot too. Our UAVs, they fly, The wherever they are in the wherever they're at in the world, they'll launch from an airport or a base, and they'll fly in the air, and they'll be up in the air for several hours before they got to refuel, you know. Or we have handheld UAVs that we can be thrown, like if you're on, Army has them, special operations use them a lot, they're chargeable, you know what I mean? They run out of battery. This thing, it stayed up there for days, and after observing it, I noticed that when I told you earlier that it was getting bigger, and it would get bigger then smaller. So after watching it for a while, I noticed it was doing one of these.
Okay.
As it moved further away from me, it got smaller. As it moved closer to me, it got bigger.
Yeah.
And so finally, I called one of my guys. I'm like, hey. I was like, y'all need to see what I'm seeing, because I don't know. I don't want to think I'm crazy. So I called one of the guys out, and they're like, we all just started looking at it. We're like, okay. And it's funny because, after a while we just paid it no mind. We all went to sleep. And we woke up the next morning. And first thing I did, I wanted to go out there to see if whatever I saw last night was still there. And sure enough, I could see a silhouette of something there. It just kind of blended in with the sky. Like, I shit you not. And I'm like, oh shit. And like, that kind of freaked me out. I was like, and then the same night, same shit. I'd seen this big old object just in the sky, just there, and it didn't go away, like, at all. And then, 2 days later, we get picked up by the helicopter. I don't remember where. I don't know if I think I was based out of Camp Victory, and then we flew back to, they flew us back to Camp Victory in Baghdad, and then that was it.
Why do you think that it's always like really outskirt areas or lonely areas or unpopulated areas that shit happens? Do you think they know and they do it on purpose, or you think we know and that's why we set it up that way?
It's all over the world now. If you've noticed, within the last 2 years,
yeah,
they're popping up everywhere. Overpopulated cities, over military installations, over.
But for the majority of the part, like when you think about like Roswell, or you think about shit that the Bermuda Triangle, or you think about shit in Egypt, or you think about shit in Mexico, it's always places that are like
where
people go missing and shit. It's like places that it's like where people, like, if you go missing, like nobody would bat an eye because it was like way out there and fucking,
Yeah, I have my personal opinions about it. Like, I honestly do believe they're real and they do exist. I've seen enough physical evidence in my lifetime to physically believe that. There's a lot of things, because I did hold a security clearance at one time. There's some things that I can't say because I did sign some NDAs whenever anytime you get briefed. So everybody in the military, you got a secret clearance, you got top secret clearance, and when you get into SCI, it's all compartmentalized. So when you get into compartmentalization, if you go to different bases, and it could be anything, it don't have to be UFO related, it could just be job. Like for me, I was a comm guy, so I was, there's a lot of classified, satellite systems I worked on, for example, you know what I mean? But because I work on it, doesn't necessarily mean that you have authorization to see it or work with it or look at it, you know what I mean? It's like you're in a room and there's 5 doors. I can go into door A, door B, door C, but I can't go into door E or F. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how the government keeps classified stuff classified, and job related stuff job related.
Yeah.
And I might go into this door A, and there might be 2 or 3 more doors inside there that I might not have access to, or that I might have access to, depending on my job and the need to know.
Yeah.
So just because, and I did hold a top secret SCI clearance, and I was read into certain SAPs, which are special access programs, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I've seen anything and everything and I know everything about it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not just that. It could be anything. It could be, like I said, satellite systems, imagery systems. I worked a lot with signal intelligence, our different intelligence collection platforms. I went, and I went to a lot of training schools. For example, a lot of people don't realize your cell phone. There's a lot of stuff on the cell phone that's classified top secret,
Yeah.
like legit. Like I'm not even bullshitting you, but can I talk about it? No. But we use it every day.
Yeah.
But the technology behind it is classified, you know, and things like that, you know. So, you know, just because a person says they got a top secret clearance, again, that doesn't mean necessarily that, you know, they know everything that's going on about everything. You know, this is my personal beliefs.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I've just seen a few crazy things that I can't explain, but you know, I believe my beliefs for a reason. You know.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is, you know, like I love watching, you know, I listen to a lot of podcasts too on that subject, you know, George Norrie, you know, hell, you know, Sean Ryan is probably one of my favorite podcasters of all time, and but it's, you know, he started off, you know, interviewing a lot of, you know, military veterans, you know, combat veterans and things like that, but then he started, you know, interviewing like Dr. Greer, you know, Skinwalker Ranch owner, you know,
Yeah.
and all these different scientists, you know, remote viewing
Yeah.
with consciousness. That's very, very real.
I was just listening to that like
Okay.
yesterday.
Dude, remote viewing is very real. The CIA had a remote viewing program, you know, decades ago. You know, that is very real.
Honestly, I think we figured that shit out a long time
Oh
ago.
yeah.
You know?
You know what's crazy? I haven't really told anybody this either. So once upon a time, I wanted to try out for this. I guess this. And man, I can't. It's been so long. I can't even think of it. It was a specific unit. It was a joint unit out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, at JSOC, and there was a screening that I had to go through. And it's funny that you say that, because the government knows our psychology and our physiology, or whatever. I can't even pronounce that
Physiology, yeah.
word. Physiology better than we know.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like they got our brain dissected to a science.
Yep.
You know, human emotion. You know, consciousness,
Like
thought
perfected. Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Dude, I was getting a psych screening one time, and hell, I don't even know if I'm supposed to talk about this, but fuck it. And the doctor tells me, he's like, okay, I'm gonna flash some flashcards at you, and just tell me what the first thing that comes up in your mind. And I was like, okay. Dude, they were just blobs, like just ink. Just imagine you just getting some paint and just flickering your fingers on a piece of paper, and it's just an ink blob. And one of them, I was like, banana. And I literally legit started smelling like a sensation of a banana or something. He turned it around, it was a fucking banana. And all it was an ink blob on the card. Like, I was like, holy shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy. But, you know, but that consciousness stuff, it's real. I mean, the CIA wouldn't have had a program for no reason. You know what I mean? If that shit wasn't real, and they used it a lot. I mean, listen to one of Sean Ryan's interviewers when he interviewed 3 of these remote viewers that used to work for the CIA, and they'll tell you their stories. They used to track all kinds of crazy stuff, you know, from submarines to like missing people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why do you think, you know, in the civilian world, you know, police and law enforcement, they use a lot of psychics to find missing children, missing people, and things like that, to solve cases.
But why do you think they label it as fucking conspiracies or like crazy?
I don't know, man.
Do you think they do that so people don't want to learn about it?
No, I think it has to do a lot. Honestly, it has to do a lot to do with human nature. You know, most human beings, if it doesn't affect their daily life, their family, or their routine, most of the time they don't give a shit.
That's true, huh?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you think about it,
is that good or bad?
It could be both. It could be both. But if you think about it from a psychological standpoint, and not just that, think of also this too. Like, you know, think about what could be on the news, you know, with media.
Yeah.
And for 3 or 4 days, it's big major news. Everybody's following it or tracking it or mad or upset about it or happy about it. And then after that, it kind of trickles off and it kind of dies down.
Yeah, and then they come up with the next story.
Yep. But that's human nature. Human beings are, I don't even know how to say it. About 4 or 5 days is how long somebody will be.
Even with death, you know, like people that, like, say your close relative or mother, grandmother. Well, I don't know about mother, grandmother, but people that die, eventually people forget about them and stop talking about them. And to me, that's like, I don't understand that. Because I don't forget, you know.
Well, yeah, true. I mean, but people like myself, I've been very numbed when it comes to feelings and emotions. But don't get me wrong. I came home from Baghdad. I was at the U.S. Embassy June 23rd, 2011, and my dad got diagnosed with liver cancer in January, but he had been sick before that, and I literally watched him slip away from me in 6 months. You know what I mean?
Liver cirrhosis?
It was from cirrhosis. So my dad was an Army vet, Vietnam vet, and he basically drank himself to death for 35 years. He was a functional alcoholic. I didn't grow up in a fucked up household. He paid the bills, went to work. He was one of them functional alcoholics. Never late to work, always went to work, paid the bills, put food on the table, roof over my head. Did I have that relationship with him? No, I didn't. He was always, when he's off, just drinking.
Yeah.
But I came home and I watched him slip away from me. Like I said, 6 months he was gone. From me and you talking like this,
yeah,
to 6 months later I was burying him.
Shit.
And that hurt a little bit. I never really had a father-son relationship with my dad. And me being a single dad, I pretty much raised Jaden on my own since he's 4 years old. Nobody really knows that. That's another thing I was dealing with. When I came back home from Iraq, me and his mom, I was messed up. I had a lot of, I guess you could say I had a lot of psychological issues. I mean, hell, I just spent the last 6 years in Iraq and Afghanistan.
So you think it was because of that, or were you like that before?
No, actually, what's kind of funny? I really didn't drink when I was like downrange or deployed, or even I wasn't a big drinker in my 20s. I didn't start drinking until my 30s, bro. I'm 45 now, and I've been drinking like a fish for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
And then, like I told you, off camera, like, dude, one day I just woke up, bro, cold turkey. I just stopped it because I'm just like, what am I doing to myself?
Yeah.
And
what made you kind of like just switch it?
It goes back to my son, because like I was saying just a while ago, like me and my dad never had that relationship.
Yeah.
And when I came home, I wasn't just battling my issues with my father's death, but I was also trying to raise a boy that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
A 4-year-old that I didn't even know. I mean, I came home to see him born. I flew into Phoenix. I was home for like a week, then I had to fly back to Iraq.
Oh, shit.
And I missed his first birthday, his second birthday, his third birthday, and dude, I didn't even know my son when I came home. Like, I'm not even lying about that. Like, the whole time I've been deployed.
Yeah.
I've been overseas. So, that was a culture shock in itself too, because now I'm responsible for a 4-year-old boy that doesn't know me from anything, yet he's my shadow.
Yeah.
He depends on me, And dude, Jaden is probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Like, I swear to God, he's probably the only thing that's kept me alive all these years. That kid means everything to me. Like, and I know he knows, but
do you think he does?
I just like, that I have communication issues with him. I'm not really emotional with him. So, like, I wish we could have that relationship to where if he's having problems or like girlfriend issues or anything, like honestly anything, he would run to me, but he doesn't. He's always been a quiet kid. Ever since he was little, he's always been a quiet kid. But
how do we change that? Because I had this conversation a couple of times. It's like old school mentality is telling us to not communicate or not learn how to communicate, not show emotions and not pass down emotions. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, on one side, I see it as a pearl because it makes us strong and it makes us like we could take the pain for our families, right? And we don't show it. We could take the scars. So that's a good part about being able to lock those emotions away, right? But then when it comes down to show it to either your wife or your son or your daughter, it's like, how do you do this? How do you show it? That shit is. I mean, this has been to me. It's like been a learning experience. I don't know. I don't think I've mastered that yet.
Yeah, hell, I haven't mastered anything yet. I feel like I'm honestly, most of the time, I feel like I'm a failing father. I mean, for me, it's kind of fucked up. I see a lot of my dad in myself. I mean, growing up, all I seen all around was my dad getting fucked up. Whenever my dad took me somewhere, it is friends' houses. They were getting drunk and high or doing whatever. You know what I mean? Me, Jaden over the years, all he did was see me get drunk and high and fucked up, and every now and then emotional, crying. But he's literally just basically what I didn't want to do, I ended up doing,
Yeah.
And over the years, it kind of hit him hard. Like, I remember one time, he was like 8 years old, 7 years old. He was failing every single one of his classes in junior high. And so me, as a father, I'm getting in those ass. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Why are you failing these classes? And I never really said this to anybody, and it kind of fucked me up. And you'll know here in a second. But we're driving home from school because one thing I've always picked my son up, drop him off, pick him up at school every single day. Now he drives, I don't even fucking see the kid. But anyway, one day I picked him up, and I got these teachers emailing me, hey, you need to talk to your son. Your child, he's failing these classes. And like, I really got into his ass, and then he and I'm trying to reach, because like me and my son, we have those communication issues. I'm trying to talk to him, but I don't know how to reach to him. And then he finally tells me, he's like, Dad, he goes, he's like, I've been doing all kind of research about you, and he goes, Dad, he's like, I don't know how to fix you. And I'm like, what do you mean, son? And he's like, I've been reading a lot about PTSD, and I don't know how to fix you. Man, that fucked me up, because he's blaming himself for my problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As a kid.
Yeah. And man, I didn't even know what to say to that. But I told him, I was like, son, I was like, Daddy's problems are gonna be with Daddy for the rest of his life. The only person that can fix his problems is me. I was like, it's not your fault for the way I am. All right. I was like, and I tried to make that clear as day to him, because, man, one thing that I've known about the younger generation, growing up, we didn't have iPads, we didn't have, information at our fingertips. You know what I mean? So, like, literally, this kid would go out and, that literally fucked me all up. Like that was like a shell shock to me. You know what I mean? So, that kid went out of his way to research all kind of different stuff about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, symptoms, how to help, treatments and things. Man, he 7-year-old kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's over there trying to research something to fix me.
Yeah.
That kind of blew me away, bro. Like, and I'm like, what am I doing? That was my first slap in the face. I'm like, what am I doing to my own kid? And the thing about it is, he's already grown up in a broken family. His mom left. His mom basically abandoned him at 4 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, that's why, like, I've given this kid everything. You know what I mean? Like, anything and everything. Basically given him everything that I never had as a kid.
Yeah.
I wasn't spoiling because I want to spoil him. I was spoiling because, like, man, this kid has a fucked up childhood. You know what I mean? Like, single, and me raising him on my own. Him not having a mother, a family. A family that he goes home to every day. A mother that he can lean on, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And
moms help a lot.
Yeah, they do, dude. And his mom's in Arizona now. He's older. He flies. you know, I fly him once a year to Arizona. He sees his mom now. But even got to a point too when around that age, you know, even to this day, his mom was over there, you know, calling me, bitching and complaining. You know, I'm trying to call your son. He's not picking up the phone and this and that. And one time, dude, like he went off on her. And then she calls me screaming and yelling, you know, your kid's so disrespectful. And I'm like, look, I finally told her, like, I was like, you're the one that abandoned him. I was like, you need to listen to your own child. If he's having emotional outbursts, you need to listen to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's saying these things for a reason. I was like, you haven't been a part of his life in over, I guess at the time it was 7-8 years. I was like, you don't think that's affecting him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then him having to not deal with my bullshit, but I'm dealing with my own bullshit, trying to figure out life. And you know the funny thing is, you know, I got diagnosed with PTSD probably 8-9 years ago, and I was seeing a psychiatrist legit for a good 10 years, and I basically stopped going because it wasn't doing anything for me.
Really?
And the problem with that is like, you know, for the first 5 years I was seeing the same guy, you know, and then after that you're always getting a new person, and they're just reading from a fucking script. Like, it's pretty pathetic, you know. And we're having to talk about a lot of things that we don't like to talk about,
Yeah.
or
personal stuff, yeah.
or re-explain. You know, it's like I'm starting from scratch all over again. You know what I mean? And so I stopped going. You know, I mean, and you know, or how I coped with my issues was drinking,
Yeah.
doing cocaine.
Mhm.
That's how I coped with all my problems. And you know, finally one day, 5 months and 27 days ago, that's how long I've been sober,
Shit.
I woke up and fucking just cold turkey, bro. And man, it's kind of funny that we're you know, anyway, but I woke up, I didn't want to dude, cold turkey, you know.
Before that, when was the last time you did a detox? Like,
I never did it.
4 weeks.
Never
without
did it.
alcohol?
Never. Dude, I've been drinking for 15 plus years, and it went from basically 6 days a week. I never stopped drinking, I just slowed down at the beginning. And then it went to like 4 days a week, you know. I gradually slowed down little by little. It was because I was getting, and it wasn't because of me, it was because I was getting more and more busier, you know. Because back then, you know, I had Daddy-O's, and then I had Daddy-O's, and that was my first bar, and then I had a Fusion. That was my second one I opened. Daddy-O's is, I know we're jumping around a lot, but it's kind of part of the story.
Yeah.
I
was gonna ask you about it regardless.
Yeah, Daddy-O's was 2016, 2017.
How did you get into that?
Yeah, well, you know, honestly, the reason why I got into a bar was because of my dad. My dad always wanted to have his own bar for some reason. Actually, I think he told me that one time. He's like, you know, he's always wanted a bar. And the same month that my dad passed away was September of 2012. I ended up, I think, man, was it? No, 2012. When did I get Daddy-O's? Yeah, my dad passed away September 2012. And I think I took Daddy-O's, I want to believe it was 2016. Anyway, Omar, a real good buddy of mine, he first opened it. And then I ended up buying it from him. So, and I think that was 2016 or 2017. I don't remember. I think it was I think it was 2016. Anyways, and that's how I got my first bar. I bought it from Omar, paid $75,000 for it. And yeah, that was my first bar. And trust me, it was a huge. I didn't know shit about bars. All I knew was how to drink.
As a start.
That was a start. And
you're the biggest customer.
Oh man, I was the biggest customer. Yep. And you know, I had Daddy-O's until 2021 is when I closed it, and I opened up Fusion. Saved all my money, you know, that I made. I spent a lot of money too, but then I opened up Fusion, and I started Fusion with $45,000. That was it. And you know, when I first opened Fusion up, my manager George, and he helped me with it. And then I had Eddie and Debbie, Eddie V and Debbie Deb. They're the ones that helped promote it for me. So for the first year, it fucking sucked. Well, for the first 7-8 months, it sucked. I was literally eating 20 to 30 grand a month, just keeping it open.
Fuck.
I mean, bars are expensive, bro. They ain't cheap.
Yeah.
Especially if you ain't got no customers.
Yeah.
So basically, Daddy-O's was just what was paying the bills for Fusion. You know what I mean?
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I'm glad I had that because everything was still over there. And then little by little, it started moving from there to over here because Fusion was twice as big. And oh man, I don't remember if you remember Fusion days. It was a party every fucking weekend.
Really?
Like yeah. I mean, it took Eddie and Debbie, I want to say 3 or 4 months, and they just blew that place up.
Yeah.
And then Paul Whiskey, I had him over there.
Yeah.
He was, I started him in promoting him game. I'm the one that got him out. I introduced him to Sean and before Sean, he worked for Carlos Castillo at Henke Pilot.
Yeah.
And then he was there for a little bit downtown, and then he moved to Midtown, and I introduced him to Sean and Mike, two real good Outlaw and Punks, really good friends of mine. And he just branched out from there. I mean, from Henneke and Pilot, he just blew up.
Yeah.
Eventually working for Deco and Rowe at Lincoln, and where you were there too.
Yeah.
I think he came in afterwards, right? After you or during when you were there.
Yeah.
But he just went everywhere, and my Edgar, he's a real good brother of mine. He owns Mamritas. He opened up Tri-City now there in Pasadena next to me. He was real good. He was like best friends with Paul Dad. I pretty much met all of Paul's family, over the years. I mean, hell, his dad used to go to dad went to Daddy-O's a few. Anyway, his family went a few times to my bars.
Yeah.
That's how I met his family through Paul. And just over the years, we became really, really good friends. We became close. Well, one was because we're both fucking alcoholics and we like to drink. And 2, because we fucking partied hard together. Like, all the fucking time. Like, I'm not even exaggerating.
That fireball.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. But we used to party so fucking hard. Oh, my God. That was my dog. You know what I mean? Like, that was my sidekick.
Yeah.
And anywhere he was at, I'd pop up. Or anywhere I was at, he would eventually pop up, And then, from... and I still have Fusion. I sold it to... I sold half of it to my partner, Brian, who's my current partner today. And he changed it to Winners. So Fusion is, Fusion/Winners. It's still there. I think we've been there now 8 years.
Oh shit.
And hell, we opened 20, maybe 9 years. I think 9 years. Yeah. Dude, these time frames, they all blur.
So how do you drink?
Yeah, that too. And then I know we were talking offline a little about Spring Street. I think, but my current partners is Ravine, which you know already, Chase, and AK, and then somebody you haven't met yet, name is Jerry, and I don't think you met Brian yet. But those are my 5 business partners. And then anyway, so Conservatory was just starting to be built, and so we had another project we wanted to work on, which was Spring Street, and then we took that over. And I had that for a year, and then we ended up selling it, which, what happened with the first sale. Anyway, we resold it. So now it's about to open up to Botanic Beer Garden. And these guys, they just opened up last Friday. That made the place, it's beautiful. It's eventually, just the bar side is up and going right now. And they're eventually going to open up the coffee side, and then they're going to have their own food truck selling food. So once they get everything operational, it's actually going to be a pretty chill spot. And then we opened up Conservatory like a year ago.
Yeah.
And man, one thing I learned from Spring Street is Chase's work ethic when it comes to construction. That dude is a fucking genius. Like he measures everything to like a millimeter, and everything fits perfect. Like everything. He did the build out. And then Mike Ponce, we had Mike help us with all the sections, the outdoor seating. So Mike, I brought Mike in, and he did most of the construction, and Chase did all the inside and all the, everything, like, where the jockey boxes go, the wells, the beer, and then he did the same shit for Conservatory. Like, he's a fucking genius. Like, I watched him from, dude, when we first got Conservatory, it was nothing but dirt and concrete. Like it was an empty shell.
Oh shit.
Like literally, it's all the way you go in there and you pick up sand. You know what I mean? And then Chase, he's just like a designing genius in that. And that's funny because, you know, we have Eddie. Eddie's one of our workers. You know, he's the one that does all the work. He'll do work at Reset, at Drop Shots, at Spring Street, at Conservatory. Every time I see Eddie, hey, Eddie, good job, good job. Chase is like, Eddie didn't do that. I'm the one that designed it. I just told him what to do. But I love Chase to death. But anyway, but yeah, so we just had our basically we just had our 1 year anniversary at a conservatory, and then Ro had his 1 year anniversary at a Duchess. We actually opened both of those the same day.
Really?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep, same fucking day. And so congratulations, Ro, on your 1 year anniversary, buddy. Love you. And yeah, but same day. And we have a few other things in the works. You know, we're really not saying much on it right now, but we're planning on opening at least 2 more businesses this year.
This year?
Yep.
Oh damn.
So one towards the end of the year, and then another one as soon as Chase and Ro and Sean get Drop Shots off. You know, we're gonna start working on another project. So that's the plans, at least. You know.
Yeah, that place is nice. The inside.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Benji just had a badass. He had a huge fashion show like 2 weekends ago over there at Drop Shots, and the bar was packed.
Really?
Yes. I mean, they had Sean. He managed it. He's a managing partner over there, and he had it all staffed up. Staff did a phenomenal job, and they were fucking packed. I was like, oh my god. I just can't wait till they get open, and it's gonna be a good spot. I mean, I'm not a pickleball player. You know, I've been dabbling in physical fitness, as you can see, the last actually 3 years. You know, it's taken me 3 years to see that picture I posted today, how fat I was.
Yeah.
Man, I was fat as fuck. You know.
You chose the fucking worst picture to post, but that's good though.
No,
the
but
other one looked much better.
But it was a funny picture too. I was like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I was fucking fat. Oh my god, it was embarrassing. But you know,
You look like one of those husbands on the 90 Day Fiance. You know, one of those candidates. Have you seen that show? There's like these guys that have money, but they date like really hot gold diggers.
Yeah.
These guys always get fucked over. You'll see it later. Yeah, they know what I'm talking about. You know?
Okay. Yeah, but oh my god. But you know what? It was an embarrassing picture, but it was funny. But you know what? Like I'm actually legit proud of myself. Like I'm so fucking proud of myself.
Yeah, you should be.
Dude, 2 years ago I couldn't even do 1 pull up. Now I just. Hey, I'm catching up to you, bro. Yes, I'm talking to you. I can do 12 now. Like,
but Ro don't count. He always like 75 pounds away.
You know, it's funny. I always tell people like, Ro has a body like a fucking comic book character.
Yeah.
Like literally, he's that ripped. You know. He gets embarrassed when I say that, but I'm like, love you, buddy. But you know, I posted you know, he posted a video. I don't know, about a month ago, him doing pull-ups, and I was like, oh my god, he makes it look so easy. Like really, like he's like,
yeah.
And you know what? And I struggled, like just to do 6.
Yeah.
Like I struggled, but now, dude, like I was doing them I did like 5 sets of 8, like 2 weeks ago. Then I did 4 sets of 10, and my last set I did at 6 or 8 or something like that. Then I was like, damn, this shit's easy.
Yeah,
it gets easy. It gets easier. You know, that's what I'm saying. It ain't easy. It gets easier. But you know, that also, you know, my sobriety and working out, you know, that's part of my journey. That's part of me. You know, that's part of my sobriety journey. Like I'm literally.
It goes hand in hand, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that and healthy eating. Like it's. I'm literally trying to change my lifestyle around. You know.
You're not trying. You are.
Well, I'm trying. I mean, hopefully I don't.
Just quitting drinking, bro. You have no idea. Like, okay, in general, as a human, American, I don't know if it's worldwide, but alcohol is normal as fuck. Like, you're more weird if you say you don't drink. In any room, right? You're the weirdo. And then you think about the industry we work with, right?
Yeah.
Everybody drinks. 90%, 99% of people drink, right?
Bro, everybody does drinking and everybody does fucking blow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. So, people think it's like, people think quitting alcohol is easy, right? Like overnight, because they don't live the life we've lived, you know? So,
yeah.
To us, it's like drinking 3-4 times a week is nothing, you know, for years and years and years. And then to be able to get that monkey off your back is not easy in the beginning, bro. You know, even
Dude, I stare at liquor every fucking day, and trust me, every fucking day I want to drink.
Yeah.
Like it's that hard.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not just that. I'm dealing with my emotional struggles, my physical struggles, and like, don't get me wrong, dude. Like, you know, 2 week. You know, I made a few posts. You know, I've made one in January, like kind of explaining my sobriety. I don't know if you read that. I think when I found a picture and it explained me perfectly. I think it said something to the effects of, what did it say? God damn it, a brain fart. Anyway, it basically said that hope is real. And pain is real, but hope is real also. You know, and I wrote like 2 or 3 paragraphs of why. I just decided to give it all up, because over the years, I've especially, overseas, I've seen a lot of fucked up things. I've seen things that I hope to God my son never sees, or anybody for that matter sees. Being in war zones, it's crazy.
Yeah.
There's really no way to explain it. You just got to experience it for yourself, and I just hope nobody ever experiences it. But with that, I've seen a lot of death. I've seen, and then over the years, I've had a lot of friends die of suicide, and then that's what I'm scared, because I know what I'm capable of doing. You know what I mean? And I've had a few friends of mine that they just couldn't take it no more, and they just wanted out.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I'm assuming most of those were men, or all of them.
no, they were all men.
Yeah.
Since I could just say in the last 5 years, I've probably about 4 people passed away due to suicide that I know personally.
Yeah.
Well, 5. 2 of them. Well, one of them was a old staff member of mine, and then a few of them were my military buddies of mine. And anyway. But a lot of people struggle with it, and it's not just veterans or combat veterans, dude. It's people that women that go through, or men that go through spousal abuse, or you get in a car accident that traumatizes you, and fast forwarding a little bit to about 2 weeks ago, because that's pretty much, if guys, if y'all haven't read my post, I posted around January, and I want y'all to read it, because then you understand what I'm talking about. And then 2 weeks ago, I just cracked. I don't know, dude. Like, and it's kind of weird, what happened to me. Yeah, I've been shot at. I've had bombs and IDF is what we call it, indirect fire. I've had explosions all around me. You don't know where the next one's gonna hit. I've woken up in the middle of the night, run into a bunker, terrified of my life because I didn't want to get blown up. I've been sleeping in the middle of the night and I have just shrapnel ripping through the top of my living quarters. I've had a lot of scary events happen. And at the time I was scared, but I guess the best way I could explain it is but I knew what was coming at me. What happened to me 2 weeks ago, it scared the living shit out of me because I have no idea where this came from.
Really?
And I have no idea what it was, and I had no idea. I'm still trying to figure it out. I had no idea how to handle it. And, and it's funny, everybody's scared of things in life. Most of the stuff you're scared of, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Or you know how to confront it.
Yeah.
This, I don't. And that's what scares me the most. Because I just woke up one night. Dude, I woke up one Sunday, dude, I was feeling weird the whole day. And I was off. Like, I was just feeling weird. And so I just decided to get up and go for a drive, because I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was coming. I just knew something was. And left the house. I didn't want to be around my mom or my son. Dude, I got in the car, dude, and I just started bawling uncontrollably. just bawling, just crying, dude. And I was gone for about 3 hours. Eventually came back home once I got my composure back, and then slept it off. Didn't really sleep that much. And then Monday comes around. I'm emotional, and then Tuesday, that's when I just I just snapped. Like not snapped, but me and my mom went to go eat. I need to get out the house because I was stuck at home all Monday, Sunday, and Monday, and I needed to get out the house and I went to DJ shop because I had to put shoes on my truck, got new tires, and then my mom's like, hey, well, let's go eat. So we went to Golden Corral. And I got up and got a salad, and I sat down. And then, dude, I just broke, bro. I just started crying. And I looked at my mom and I told her, I'm a 45-year-old man, grown man, crying in the middle of a fucking restaurant. And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I don't know how much longer I could take this. And she actually said to me, she's like, you know what? She's like, you stop drinking and everything that you've held inside you for the past 15
numbed
years or so, nothing's blocking that no more. And
Smart woman.
And dude, the best way I can describe it, and I've said this, I don't know if you watch some of the videos that I've been posting lately. Like it was like all the good, all the bad, all the emotion, all the raw emotion, bro, just came out. Just came out, and I couldn't hold it in no more. And that's what scared the shit out of me, because normally I know what's coming at me, right? Or I see what's coming at me. This just came out of nowhere, dude.
Yeah.
And anyway, so the moment passed. We went back to my buddy DJ's shop, and then I just made a little post. And it's funny how the world works, bro. The world works in mysterious ways, because when you need somebody, someone always happens to be there. Well, at least in my case.
Yeah.
A chief that I haven't talked to in 10 years, dude. I used to work with him up north at Bob Spiker. It was outside of Tikrit in northern Iraq. He was one of my supervisors. He's a chief warrant officer in the Army. Anyway, he calls me on Facebook Messenger. He's like, Lozano, what the fuck's up with that message or that post? So I go outside because I get a call and so on Messenger. So I walk outside. I'm walking the parking lot for about 45 minutes. I'm like, well, Chief. I was like, his name's Chief Schultz, Billy Schultz. I love the guy to death. He'll probably be watching this later. But thank you, Chief, for talking to me when I really needed you. It really, really meant the world. Anyway, he's like, dude, he retired from the Army, and he became a doctor to help veterans and combat veterans with PTSD. How fucking crazy is that? Like, out of all the people in the world, he helps veterans that suffer with PTSD.
Yeah.
And he was like, and this dude's fucking smart. Like, dude, I shit you not. I even told him too when he was talking to me. I was like, he was explaining shit to me that no medical doctor in the VA system's ever told me. He's like, there's two sides to PTSD. One's psychological and the other is physiological. Because, I was telling him that basically I've noticed a lot of things with my body. Like, I sleep in my house to 69 degrees 24/7. And I'll wake up just completely drenched, like sweat. Or like I have severe insomnia. Like, dude, I even take pills just to go to sleep, and I wake up an hour later. Like, I've never had a decent night's sleep in probably 15 years. I wake up at least once or twice a night, every single day. Yeah. And anyway, I was explaining these things to him on not just here, but like what's happening with my body. And, it could be, because I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just getting older. I have no idea. I'm 45 years old now. And he's like, no. He's like, and he explained to me he basically told me, but because of the psychological things going on in my head, that my body's also reacting in like a fight or flight mode. Like my body's constantly in fight or flight mode. And it kind of makes sense after he explained it to me.
I don't know how to explain it properly, but that's the best way I can explain it. He said about, the reason why I'm sweating at night or the reason why I can't sleep at night is because my body's just constantly in fight or flight mode. Like
I
if
think
I was,
it's cortisol, right? Or that's a stress hormone. I think
I'm
high
not
cortisol
sure,
levels.
but that's what he explained to me. But you know what? And oh man, I guess that's another reason why I've been single all these years is because I don't I don't want to give other people my problems.
Yeah.
And not just that,
That's a tough
well,
way to go about it.
Oh, I did it.
Do you think you deserve it? Do you think you deserve love?
I do. Do I want it? Yeah. Will it come? I hope so one day. But I also did it too because of my son. I didn't want him to get hurt again. It's mainly for him. I figured, I can hang around and just, wait till he goes off to college. That's actually what I was planning on doing. And then maybe I'll find somebody in my life. Honestly, I'm happy by myself.
Yeah.
I am. But do I get lonely? Yeah. I mean, all men have needs.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
are you happy or are you used to it?
oh, I'm fucking miserable. I mean, dude, I'm happy in the sense that, dude, I like coming home by myself. I like
quiet.
yeah, I like doing my own thing. I go where I want, when I want. I don't got to answer to nobody. That I like. But do I get lonely? Yeah. I wish I could wake up with a woman in my arms or go to sleep looking at somebody in the face. You know what I mean? Like what every man wants.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But
sure,
yeah, of course I get lonely. I'm human.
Yeah.
But I just haven't found the right one. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had relationships. I was with this girl, Pauline, for a very long time. But she's always lived there, and I've always lived here. You know what I mean? And, I finally told her, I was like, look, I've been asking for us to be together for fucking over 5 years. I don't just want to see you once a week, And, I had to cut ties because for me, it wasn't healthy. You know what I mean? And it's not what I wanted. I wasn't happy. I was actually, I was miserable. I was with her, I guess, out of convenience. You know what I mean? You just get used to being with somebody.
Yeah.
But, I didn't want to do it no more. It's kind of like when I stopped drinking, dude. I just got up one day and I'm like, what the fuck? And with the same thing with her, I was like, I can't do this shit no more. And I told her straight up, Do I care about her? Yeah. I'm a human being, but it wasn't right for me,
How long ago was this?
It was pretty recent. Yeah, pretty recent. And I even told Jaden too. I told him, I was straight up with him. I was like, look, but he already knew. He's not stupid. It's funny. My son knows me better than I know myself to some extent. You know what I mean? And he already knew I wasn't happy. Just like, dude, like the whole episode that happened to me, like it took me, I trauma dumped on him. I kind of told him, hey, I'm experiencing some feelings and emotions that I've never experienced before, and I actually trauma dumped on this person that I just reunited with as well, and that kind of went south. But I basically told him what I told her. It was like, because dude, when it happened, it just happened, and like I literally had no one to talk to, like nobody, I didn't even know what the fuck was going on. That was the crazy thing. Like literally, it scared the living shit out of me. Yeah. And maybe I shouldn't have said some things to her and to him, but I've always been the type of guy, dude, I speak my mind. I don't care if it's good or it's bad, if it's gonna hurt you. And at least with me, you always know where you stand.
Yeah.
I've always been that way. I've always just been straight up and straightforward. And I told Jaden, I was like, basically, I'm dealing with these emotions. I have no idea what it is. It did scare me, but I'm trying to find the right help, which I did. It's also crazy. So my chief calls me, right? And then after we talked, like that Saturday, like there's another guy, he called him Agent Joe. He was a diplomatic security agent out of the embassy where I was at where I was last at. Real good buddy of mine. He's like the only guy I know in the world that can do the Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch.
Oh shit!
And dude, I was actually showing my bartender Greg a video of him because he's like you, and like he's fucking real into, he's real heavy into mixed martial. I used to train with him. And he's real heavy into mixed martial arts, and I used to train with him. He was my gym buddy there in Baghdad. And we'd go on 5-mile runs. We'd be in the gym for 2 hours, but we did that fucking day in and day out, every single day, unless we're out on, on mission or working or out somewhere, deployed somewhere, And anyway, I ain't talked to him in years. So, I mean, I think I talked to him, like, I have a lot of my friends that are still with different agencies or different organizations. I have friends that work for the company. I have friends that work with Secret Service. I have friends that are diplomatic security agents. I got friends in all walks of life, and they're still scattered all over the world. And so I hadn't talked to him in like 3 years, and I think the last time I talked to him, he was in Shanghai. And then there's his roommate, because I lived, when I was there, I had my own living quarters, but a lot of people had roommates. And his roommate, we call him White Joe. So it's Agent Joe, White Joe. White Joe. Well, they both did PSD. That was they were on a personal security detail. So what they did, any foreign diplomats that would arrive in country, or any embassy staff that had to go have meetings with foreign diplomats, they'd provide the security detail for them. Anyway, but dude, he was a beast. So I was showing Greg a video of him literally lifting 2 tons. Like, this dude, he's like 50, I want to say 55, 54, 55.
The fuck?
He just retired. He told me that he just retired. That he moved back he lives in Michigan. And he's a contractor now for Department of State. Yeah. And he would deadlift like literally a ton. Then he would bench press a ton. Then he would, what the he would squat a ton, squat, deadlift, and bench. So I think it was like he was in like the 2-ton club or some shit. Yeah. And he videotaped it. I'm like, and this dude's a fucking beast. And that's all I was showing Greg this shit. And out of nowhere, that's what I'm telling you, consciousness is fucking real, bro. Yeah. Like, out of nowhere, he started liking all my pictures and shit. So then I fucking messaged him. Yeah. And I messaged him. Damn, I think my phone died, huh? Probably did.
I didn't pay attention to that shit.
Anyway, well, we got this. Anyway, I messaged him, like, dude, do you got like fucking consciousness, spidey senses? I'm like, dude, I was literally just talking about you. And he's like, and so my call sign was Diablo in Iraq. He's like, what's up, Diablo? And anyway, he fucking and we just start chatting, just catching up to like where we left off, like nothing happened. So but it's freaking crazy, like, it's like the universe reunites you with certain people when you need them the most.
Yeah. I think it also matters about how open your mind is too. Like, if you're attracting shit like that, that means your shit's like,
Yeah, maybe.
Because to some people, that really doesn't happen,
Yeah.
To a lot of people.
But dude, it's weird, and actually, that's actually happened to me several times, dude. Like I'll be thinking of something or somebody, and them calling me, like literally, like or me thinking, or like I'm thinking of somebody. And then, like, it's just weird. Like, it's happened to me several times, and I'm like, whoa, I think about it afterwards. I'm like, oh shit, did that just happen? But yeah, dude. And so, we talked, and we were just catching up, and after that, that's why. Then I ran into you a few weeks ago, and I'm like, man, I really want to do a podcast. I really, really, really want to reach out to people. And I started, I talked to Pacino, one of my buddies, Super Dave. But, dude, I think, I don't know if this is my calling. I don't know. But, I want to help people. Like I was kind of telling you earlier, like, I'm not the only one with problems, And I'm not the only one that's fucked up in the head, you know what I mean? But, like, if I can have a platform to give other people a voice, me, I can only reach so many people. But, you could reach people I can't, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that would work, because, dude, one thing, and I've never told you this, dude. One thing, dude, I'm proud of you. Like, I've known you for a very, very, very long time, from when you first began in the promoting industry, and you were several years younger, seeing to where you're growing today, and not a lot of people have that drive, bro.
I appreciate it.
No, I'm being dead serious. Not a lot of people have that drive. And I think I've told you before, you got a bright future ahead of you. You just keep doing what you're doing, because you have a lot of drive, dude.
Yeah.
And that's something that people in your generation don't have, that I see a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and then not just that, it's the younger generation that's younger than both of us, you know.
Yeah.
They got no drive. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. But, you know, I honestly think too that by you doing this, you can help a lot of people too. You know, and I just want to I want to have a platform to where I can give the common people a voice because they don't have a voice.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't.
That's really why I started this, to be honest.
Really?
You know? Yeah, to like, there's a lot of things that don't get talked about, right? They talk about the like bad shit. They talk about the fun shit, the reality shows,
Yeah.
the album releases. You know, people don't talk about the problems that men have to face daily. You know, or women have to face daily, or the
Yeah.
solutions. You know,
Yeah.
like the stuff that we were talking about, the suicides. You don't hear anything about it, bro.
Nope.
Like nothing. Like men's mental awareness
There-
month is almost unspoken.
I think there's more suicide than there's alcoholic deaths.
Yeah.
I think I don't quote me on that, but the suicides are up there. Like I mean, hell, look in Houston, we just had 4 officers just commit suicide within like the past 1 or 2 months or 3
Yeah.
months or I don't know. I seen something. I didn't really read it, but they all died from suicide.
Yeah, they just don't talk about it, bro. They don't know.
Nope.
Nobody says anything.
Yep. And it's a touchy subject. You know, honestly, you know, I haven't talked to nobody. This is the first platform that I've went public, even with my own personal experiences. Well, let me rephrase that. I've just barely started going public within the last few weeks, just on my own experiences on Instagram and Facebook. You seen, because when I was talking to my chief, one of the things he told me was do record videos or talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I found one of the things, just me talking to myself or just talking to empty space,
Mm-hmm.
that helps me.
Yeah.
Because he also said too to do a diary, but I don't fucking like writing, so I don't want to do no journal. Several people told me to write a journal. I don't like that. So what works for me is just doing videos. Like I'll just get up on the road and I'll start driving. You see me, I just start making a video.
Yeah.
But that helps me,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and if it's helping me, maybe that can help others.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is honestly, this is all new territory for me too. I'm learning as I go.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna work or what's not gonna work, but at least I'm trying to do something.
Yeah. And that's the point. Just try. It doesn't matter if anybody responds to it, because at the end of the day, somebody's gonna get a benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
It always happens that way.
Yep.
As long as the message is real and raw, like not pretending, not like.
And not like us, we're doing a completely raw, transparent live stream. Well, not live stream. My phone went dead, so you'll see the real video later when we post it. But you know what I mean? Like we're just talking about life,
Yeah.
And that's
not scripted, not planned.
Fuck
yeah.
no. You didn't write no, anything down or ask me questions. It's kind of funny. You actually kind of threw me off when you asked about UFOs, like of all things. And you know what? It's crazy. Going back to UFOs, all my family's always fucking asking me about that shit too.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's crazy. I mean, but honestly, there's only so much I can say. Like just like Elon Musk. Look at this. He's always denying the shit. Motherfucker's in space. Of course, he has to see something. But does he say anything?
Yeah.
Fuck no. He's keeping a tight lip. Even when he was on Rogan, he was on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan asked him the same shit. He's like, no, I haven't seen anything. If they were out there, believe me, I'd be the first person to find out. Motherfucker,
He was also talking about the what was it, politicians and them like stealing money or somebody or corporations. He was like, I can't say too much about it because they might take my life. Something like that.
No, but you know what? That shit's very real. There's 2 governments in this world, and that's very real. I mean, look, they just had 2 or 3 assassination attempts on Trump. You know what I mean? Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not Democratic, I'm not Republican, but I guess you can say I lean more on the Republican side just because I'm in fucking Texas. But honestly, I'm on no side because they're all fucking rich. They're all fucking, corrupt for most part.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to be. I mean, they've had to burn a lot of bridges and be crumped at some point in their life to get where they're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, and they're all tools.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, and then people don't really think about it. Like, I literally sit there, I do a lot of thinking. Most politicians don't understand the common person. Why? Because they're in a completely different tax bracket.
Yeah.
Like, they don't suffer the way we suffer. Like, $1 to us, well, let me rephrase that. $100,000 to them is probably like $1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, You know,
Their dads were presidents and governors. You
well,
know?
no, I'm just strictly speaking their way of life. You know, most of them, they have their own drivers, they have their own cooks, they have their own servants. You know, they don't buy their own groceries. They don't go to work 7 days. Well, I mean, they probably work and go to the office, whatever. But you know what I mean. They don't deal with the daily necessities that a common person does or a common family does. You know what I mean? They have everything done for them, just like Hollywood. They have everything done for them.
Yeah.
You know, they're catered to. We have to make our own food. We have to go get our own food. If we want fast food, we have to drive there. You know what I mean? Anywhere we go from point A to point B, we got to drive. Like every choice we make is our own. People make their own choices for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They live privileged lives like that. So, of course, they would never understand the common mentality. You know what I mean? The common
pretend to though.
yeah. But that's why government never works. That's why it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. This is my personal.
Yeah.
Again, this is my personal way of thinking. It's never going to work because they cannot understand the shoes that we fit in.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Like period, point blank. I don't care who it is. You know.
I just think like it's switched so much. In general, governments are made to help the people, and right now the people are helping the government. You know what I'm saying? Like they're supposed to be here to help us get better.
Yeah, but you know, honestly, our government's our government's been trash for probably the last
200 years.
Yeah, but I mean, just in our modern time, just us. Hell, it's been trash for the last 5-6 administrations. They have literally done nothing. You know, Republicans come in, they overturn everything that the Democrats do. The Democrats come in, they overturn everything the Republicans do, and it's just back and forth every fucking year, and nothing ever gets done. It goes back to square one again, being fucked up. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like, you know, like when Biden was in office, he fucked up the whole country. He didn't. You know, the funny thing is, and people don't talk about this either, he didn't even run the country for the last 2 years. Obama was probably pulling all the strings. At least that's what people are saying and whispering. He didn't even, a sitting president didn't even run the country for the past 2 years.
I mean, any person with common sense could just see him like physically and see that he's gone. Like mentally, physically, he was gone. Like he wasn't there.
But you know, his first 2 years he was doing something. Yeah. You know. So I'm not Biden bashing, but come on, you know, if a sitting president that doesn't do shit for the country when he's a sitting president in office that took the oath, who really runs the country? Yeah. Or who really runs the world is a bigger question. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's why like the deep state, it's not a conspiracy, it's the truth. Yeah. You know? Just like with Trump. Trump's a billionaire. Musk is the richest man in the world. Yeah. There's a reason why he said that he doesn't want to get assassinated. Yeah. Because that shit's very real. Yeah. And he's the richest man in the world. Yeah. Being public saying that. Yeah. You know? They just tried to kill Trump twice. Yeah. You know? So the presidents don't run our country. Nah, the corporations, I mean, they have a hand in it, but it's a lot bigger than that. Yeah. You know? And
I think it goes back to, honestly, from my personal research, I think it goes back to Babylonia, like long time ago. We think because we've read these books in elementary and shit that it's like brand new, right? But
fuck no. History has been rewritten. Yeah, you know, at least 1,000 times.
Whoever wins the war
writes history, and that's the truth. Like you're speaking, going back to the Mesopotamian days. I'm a fucking huge history buff. You know, it's crazy, and this is why another reason why I guess the world governments don't want UFOs to come out. Okay, well, not just UFOs, just extraterrestrial species. Think about it. Since the Sumerian times, the Sumerians is the oldest civilization known to man. And actually they found older civilizations, but there's not really much documented. But the Sumerians is documented, very well documented. Zechariah Stitchin actually translated most of the Sumerian text. But what a lot of people don't realize, and this goes back to the human mentality, is that the Adam and Eve story, the story of creation, the Great Flood story, all those were in Sumerian text that predated Christianity 5,000 plus years, before Christianity wasn't even invented. Yeah. Okay? So the Quran, the Old Testament, the Torah, you know, all three very different religions are plagiarized from different scriptures that existed before those even existed.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And people don't realize that. Like
Yeah.
they don't. I've been to Sumerian. You know what's funny? When I was in Iraq.
That's Iraq, right?
Yeah. Well, no. Well,
modern day Iraq?
all this. No. So Iran and Iraq. Iran and Iraq, both Muslim countries. They had all these Sumerian historical sites that they saved because it's not about religion. It's human. It's a part of human history.
Human history. Yeah.
Iran has a lot of ziggurats.
Okay. What is that?
That's a ziggurat is that's a Sumerian temple.
Okay.
So when I was in Talil, it's down south. It's south of Baghdad. They had what's called the ziggurat of Ur. You can read up on it later on. It's a moon goddess temple. It was a temple that the Sumerians used to worship. And I actually climbed all the way up to the top of it. And it had fucking a lot of steps. But I was at the top of it. I took pictures, and but when I was in Southeast Asia for about 16 years. But I made it the point to travel. I traveled to Jordan. I did the whole biblical tour. I went to Mount Nebo. I went to the Dead Sea. I fucking floated on the water because the salt concentration is so high.
Yeah.
In a Bible, it makes you think it's like
Walking
like
on water?
magic. Yeah, or walking on water. It's all freaking physics and science.
Yeah.
It's the salt content so high. That's why you float.
Yeah.
Okay, it ain't nothing to do with anything else. You know what I mean? But I went to John the Baptist site when I was in Iraq. I went to Abraham's house where Abraham literally lived. It's just a foundation of a house. The Garden of Eden. I went to all these places just to see for myself. There's two places I still want to travel. One is Egypt. I want to see the pyramids, and for some fucking reason I want to meet the Dalai Lama. I want to go to Tibet.
Yeah.
Okay. But when I was in Japan, Vietnam, Japan, I toured all these different Buddhist temples. The Tao. One thing about me, I'm a religion and history buff. I love learning about different religions, different cultures, and history. And so I made it a point once upon a time. I traveled all over the world just to see things for myself, and I did and not all the people have that capability. Not all people can do that. Hell, 90% of the people that live in the U.S. don't even go outside the U.S.
Yeah.
And that's pure fact.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so easily for us to get brainwashed?
Yeah.
And it's crazy too. The whole time I was in Iraq, everybody and this is what people don't understand. It's not just about Iraq or Afghanistan. I mean, hell, it's Ukraine and every other conflict there is in the world. Dude, everything's filtered.
Yeah.
Media is controlled.
Yeah.
The media is so heavily controlled in Europe and heavily controlled in the United States. They only want to tell you what they want you to hear.
Yeah.
And it's been that way. Yeah. But people think, oh, well, this is happening just like with oh my God, with Ukraine, for example. Dude, they've been at civil war since like 1995 or something like that.
Yeah.
They've been it's been a civil, because Ukraine used to be part of the old Soviet Union. Mm-hmm. When the Soviet Union fell, there was a lot of countries that became independent, but Russia still had a lot of political influence. Yeah. It's not about Russia being good or bad or invading another country. They've been at war with each other already. And then it hits mainstream media 4 years ago, right before the Biden administration, and then everybody's in an uproar. Oh, Russia's evil. Russia's bad. They're invading. I'm like, y'all are fucking idiots. They've been going to war for fucking decades.
People don't fucking understand this shit, bro.
And then you got all the liberals, they just get under my skin, and give it more money. I mean, dude, we're throwing billions of dollars over there for a fucking civil war. What do you think we did in Vietnam? It was a fucking civil war. You know what I mean? Korea was a fucking civil war. We're getting involved in other people's business when we got bigger problems to worry about back home.
Yeah.
Our country's going to shit, but let's give more billions of dollars to them. It's like with, the whole Israeli thing. I don't agree with that shit either, Why are we giving billions of dollars to Israel? Yep. They're the ones that start their own shit. I don't give a fuck. Honestly, I don't give a fuck about that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're committing genocide.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. Yeah. That's human life. We all bleed red, but war makes money.
Yeah.
That goes back to the people that control the world.
But we were talking about ancient Sumeria.
Oh yeah, we kind of get off topic. But let's go back to that. So anyway, I Zachariah Sitchin, he and there's actually Sumerian tablets in the British Museum, and there's like a few museums all over the world. And the Sumerians are fucking awesome, dude. They had technologies just like all the new shit. Because after the Sumerians, it was got into I think the Egyptian time frame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look what they're finding out about Egypt now. If you've seen, they're finding like all these underground spirals that go meters underground. You're like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like literally a whole underground city that they're using lidar. To what lidar is a radar technology that can find underground structures.
But how are they barely finding this shit, man? I think that all this shit is already here. They just choose to give it to us little
Well,
by
no,
little
I
by
mean
little,
we really lidar is a new technology. It just recently came out, probably in the last decade, I would say. And you got to remember, that's Egypt. They're not like the United States where we have all the technology at the grasp of our fingertips.
Yeah.
They're not a third world country. They're definitely civilized and populated. And, I've never been to Egypt, but I've been all over the Middle East, and their cities are just like ours. Cars, skyscrapers, apartment buildings, everything. Just literally like ours.
Yeah.
And maybe they just didn't have the access to the technology, or too, funding. It costs a lot of money to do things like that. You know what I mean? Maybe the government just didn't have the money.
But all these years, and the pyramids have been such a fucking.
Oh, who knows? Look at the Vatican. Look at their archives.
We're never gonna be able to.
You know what's crazy? They probably have more human history that probably predates the Sumerians that we don't even know about.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, and a lot of
What
money.
I mean? You know what I mean?
The theory is that the Roman Empire never fell. It changed to religion, right? The Vatican.
Yep.
And banking, right?
And what you think about, think about this is crazy. You just hit the nail on the hammer. The Romans, they were the most civilized population during their time, right?
Yeah.
What happened after the Roman Empire fell? The Middle Ages started.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Shit, yeah.
Technology just disappeared like 150 plus years, literally overnight.
Yeah.
And it was like that for over a century.
Yeah.
If you think about that, like, that's fucking crazy, dude. The Roman Empire, they had freaking toiletry and running water in their houses,
Yeah.
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 And then the Middle Ages started right after that. So, again, history rises and technology rises, and then history and technology falls. It's always been like this throughout human history,
Yeah.
And now we're at the peak of our modern technology and history. But I'm pretty sure, but even before us, there was people flying outer space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, when you were talking about the Sumerians, they recorded the shit.
Yeah.
There's always been the angels or somebody that came from the
Yeah.
skies.
Yeah.
This is.
You ever read the Book of Enoch? There's
I've been wanting to read that shit.
so there's two books. One's the Book of Enoch, and
Giants.
then one is the Emerald Tablets.
Emerald Tablets,
So you really need to read both of those documents because it tells you a lot about human history. It tells you a lot about.
It was taken out of the Bible, right? Like they took it
Yeah,
out.
yeah. The Book of Enoch was, but the Emerald Tablets, that's kind of like an offset of. It just tells a little bit more about human history that the Bible doesn't tell, or that's not put out there. And it opened your eyes a lot to like, wow, like even to this day, we're still finding out more and more about human history that we never knew about.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like giants, they existed.
Yeah.
There's archaeological digs all over the world of freaking giants, and they're keeping that secret.
Yeah.
They're keeping that classified. Do
you think they do it so people don't fucking lose their minds? Like,
well, you know what? I don't know. It's just kind of like the whole UFO thing. Honestly, I think the government doesn't, and trust me, the government's never. Now you got all these hearings, and they're trying to get all this information out there. The government's never ever gonna admit that there's extraterrestrial life or that there's UFOs. They're never gonna admit it. Never would, never will. And it's funny that people get their hopes up with all these hearings that are going on and all these whistleblowers and all these witnesses. If they were going to do it, they would have done it decades ago.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, there was crashes in the 30s that they still keep classified. That was before Roswell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now you got all these whistleblowers and all these special operation guys that were on crash recovery teams that recovered all these craft that's in the hands of Lockheed Martin and companies like that. And they don't even know what to do with that technology. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're not there yet, we don't even have the technology to even understand or define the technology that they got. You know what I mean? Like, but don't get me wrong. And, I thoroughly believe that they've been doing a lot of reverse engineering. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the shit we see in the skies is our own shit, but, huh?
This.
Yeah. Where do you think fiber optic cable came from?
Yeah.
Fiber optics came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like literally. And the Macintosh computer came out of nowhere.
Mhm.
Literally
Yeah.
like 10, 15 years after Roswell.
Yeah.
Or 20 years maybe. But,
What about the moon landing?
oh, that was very real. Look at Sean Ryan's latest episode. He just interviewed his first astronaut.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was actually pretty interesting. I listened to it the other night.
The first one, or was there another one, or what?
No. He interviewed his first astronaut, like actual astronaut.
Okay.
Like he's never had an astronaut on his platform. And but it was very interesting. You know, he was a SpaceX astronaut. He didn't work for NASA. He was just a SpaceX astronaut. But he says that that happened. But and then Sean asked him, why haven't we been back to the moon in the last 50 years? There's a lot of conspiracy theorists that say that we're not welcome back to the moon, or that there was things on the moon that
Ooh.
told us we weren't allowed to come back.
Yeah.
And I believe that's real.
Yeah.
But that's again my personal belief.
What about Mars?
Oh, there's I honestly believe that there was life once on Mars, and there was actually remote viewers that remote viewed Mars, and they have pyramid structures, and they had giant
Yeah, I've heard that.
they had
yeah.
giant beings just like we have giant beings on Earth.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean,
They say if we ever
I don't-
destroy Earth, that's where we're going.
I don't
man.
believe in coincidence, but if there's actual pyramids on Mars and there was actually giants on Mars just like we found here, that's kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe the giants we found here were from Mars at one point in time.
Yeah.
But I think his name was John. I don't want to fuck up his last name. He was a remote viewer in like the 60s. He's the one that started Project Stargate with the CIA. And I believe
Oh,
that was a project.
shit.
John McGriddle and there's a actual there's a school that actually anyone can learn how to remote view. And
Really?
you can actually enroll in it, pay for the courses and learn it. It's look up the Monroe Institute when you get a chance.
Okay.
Like it's like if I have nothing to do one day and I want to literally go to the Monroe Institute just to learn how to remote view.
Yeah.
Like I'm that fascinated with consciousness. Like it's fucking cool. But they actually, dude, they got remote viewing to a science to where they can put frequencies. They'll basically put headphones on your head and you'll just listen to certain frequencies. You can actually astral project, if that makes sense. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
To where you
yeah.
actually can come out, you can have outer body experiences.
I did that once.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy. But that's fucking true too.
Yeah.
Like your consciousness is a part of your physical body, but when it's away from your physical body, it's like it doesn't even know who you are. It's like its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? And it's weird, but
It's what makes us like be alive. The energy, you know what I'm saying? Like you see the bodies that die, right? They just turn pale. Our consciousness and energy is what we have had, and it's always been. Energy has to transfer somewhere, right?
yeah.
It never dies.
And what's weird that they've actually in this I just read this recently too. When a baby is born, they've actually videotaped it or recorded it to where they seen that first spark of life,
Oh,
like in the
shit.
womb,
Yeah.
like basically the soul
Goes in.
going in.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they've actually documented that. They
Yeah.
have physical proof that the soul is like going into a human,
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's fucking crazy. Like that's like so like yeah, I am a very firm believer of consciousness. I'm not really a religious person, and don't get me wrong, I'm not atheist. I do believe in a God. But I don't believe I don't believe in any modern day religion because it's all fabricated. It's all the stories behind it is historical fact. That's true. But the methodology and the belief system behind it is completely false and fabricated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I honestly think honestly when I think about this shit, and I think about it a lot, it's like I feel that these things are ego in us, right? Why do we fight with each other over who we praise and being a good or bad person, right? It's just like why do we do that to each other about race? Why do we do each other about religion, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're all human, bro. We all, and I don't understand, the black prejudice, the brown prejudice, the white prejudice. Dude, we all bleed blood. Like literally, we're just different colors, and yet everybody, you know who created racism? We did, humans.
Yeah.
We created racism,
Yeah.
and everybody created it equally. It's not one minority. We all created it.
Yeah.
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 And it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
and it's crazy that it still continues to this day, and I just don't get it, like, and that's that's what I don't like about the Democrats and Republicans, and when it comes to
That's another thing. It's just, to me, all these things are just cults.
yeah, they divide people on purpose, and like for what, why, and what's crazy, the only thing that brings people together is fucking war.
Yeah.
Like that's like the calling. War is what brings common people together.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, it just blows my mind. Why does something like that have to bring people together?
Yeah. It's always been a part of us, though. War and peace has existed since the beginning of time.
Oh, it has.
Some people think that there was a moment in history where we were peaceful beings, And this goes back to actually Sumerian times. There's this thing called the Zeitgeist, the documentary, and it tells you at the beginning of time, it was the sun and the moon, the nighttime and the daytime, and that's when like the battle of war and peace started. Whatever you.
Oh wow, I got to read that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's called the Zeitgeist, and then like since then they named it different names. I forgot the name. Amen Ra, I think was the name of the Amen, and then Ra, and that's when we say Amen or Amen.
Well, Amen, like when it goes by that, Amen's not even like Jesus.
Yeah,
that's not even his name.
Yeah,
and if you read the Emerald tablets, see. And another thing about Christianity that people don't think about or talk about or even really bring up at all is the Bible started when Jesus was like in his 20s. But it does not talk about anything from when he was born to where his story began.
Yeah.
He had a wife. He had kids. He traveled the world. He did go to Egypt. He learned different religions in Egypt. He went to Tibet to learn reincarnation. Like, he traveled the world to learn different things.
Yeah.
And that's not talked about. They figure him as the son of God in the biblical text, which is completely false. He was a regular human being that explored the world and did his own thing. He had a family, he had kids. And what's actually crazy, I was listening to a podcast maybe about 2 months ago on the Templar Knights.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And they actually have Jesus's bones and Mary Magdalene's bones, his supposed wife, still to this day, like in a classified tomb, buried.
Yeah.
And they have Arks of the Covenant, several of them. It wasn't just one. They have several Arks of the Covenant around the world. And these were actually ancient technologies that had or hosted some type of power, or it could be maybe a form of a battery. I don't know. This is just what I was watching. But there's several Ark of the Covenants that are buried around the world, and they still hold these treasures to this day, and they are very real.
Yeah.
And actually, he said within the next probably 5 to 10 years, they are going to open up these tombs and expose it to the world. Now, if that's true or not, I don't know, but he was literally one of the highest Knights of the Templar that's in existence to this day, and he's a very old man, you know. So I don't think he'd be telling a crazy story for no reason, There has to be some truth to it, but that's also crazy,
That's also like during the Knights of Templar, it's kind of when and this is just something that I've read. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But it's like how there's families like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, right?
Yep.
They got their money back then, but they change their name every so often, right? There's this paper that I could send to you, but it has the original families, the names of them.
Yep.
The Collins, Colognes, right? Christopher Columbus, Cologne. Like he worked for the Portuguese, and like they change their names every like generation. Or every 100 years, right? They'll go from like the Rothschild, that means little red shield. Mm-hmm. So they just changed their name to the Rothschild, and then like there was all these families that what are the DuPonts is another family, mm-hmm. right? And they would change their names so they just stay out of the radar, right?
Yeah.
The trillionaires, not billionaires, right?
Yeah.
These families do it, and they said that like during the Knights of Templar was kind of when the money started coming in, and that's when they started having like all the wealth, and they just from there just skyrocketing. Yeah.
And it's crazy too, back to UFOs. Even Christopher Columbus recorded seeing strange things in the skies.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. That's actually I guess they found one of his manuscripts, or what do you call those things when they're sailing, and his journal, Yep, he's seen UFOs, but it's all in like the Sumerians, back to the Egyptians, dude. It's been all over history.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the Bible. It's in all kind of murals of the Bible.
Anybody that doesn't believe that, anybody that believes that we're the only species,
Yeah, they're fucking idiots.
Yeah, they're just arrogant and naive.
And UFOs is like dude. I'm fascinated about that topic. Like I could talk about it all day, and there's a lot of stuff I can tell you off camera. A lot of stuff that I'm not going to tell you on camera, but it's fucking amazes me, and it's like one of those subjects you just want to know more and more and more, and you're never gonna know more and more and more.
Yeah.
Unless you see it for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also one of them subjects where you can tell the truth all day and all night, and people are gonna just look at you like you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad that at least we can have this conversation because you find it somewhat intriguing and you actually believe in stuff like that. So, because I really don't talk about it a whole lot.
I mean, all you got to do is care about history and the future. If you think that these 300 years that America has existed is our history, you have to be naive. You have to you don't care,
That's just like a sand in the dirt in the dirt, man, and on the beach.
Time,
that's all it is.
Since the beginning of that we like were born to where we're at now. Think about all the shit that's happened,
And you know what's crazy? There's more planets in the universe than there is sand on every single beach on Earth.
Oh, shit.
Think about it from that perspective. Yes. There's more planets in the universe
how small we are
than a grain of sand in all of our beaches on planet Earth.
There's a little video. It's actually from a cartoon called Rick and Morty.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there's this thing called we are consciousness experiencing consciousness, right?
Oh wow!
So we go in. The cartoon zooms into this guy's brain, the kid, and it just goes in and it zooms out, and it's something. It repeats itself again, and again, but it gets bigger and bigger. So like, think about like at the end of Men in Black, the aliens. Like it zooms out to the galaxy, and the aliens are playing marbles like with the galaxies. Like we're like think about an ant pile and how small they are. And then we're the ant pile on the Earth, right? And then the Earth is a little spectrum on the galaxy in the Milky Way, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Like it's never ending,
Yeah.
So we really are like,
dude, it's crazy, bro. And then we only live so long, and then when we die, like our kids. They're going to pick up our footsteps, and guess what? They're not even going to know the whole truth or see the whole truth.
Yeah.
Our lifespans are very, very short.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy. Maybe we were designed that way so we could never see the whole picture, I don't know.
I think we used to live longer. I think we used to live like 400 years.
You think it's genetics?
I think it's our lifestyle. I think they've changed us. Like you said, like it's planned for us to live like us drinking this plastic and us wearing the boxers we're wearing and breathing the air we're breathing and growing our apples in certain soil,
Yep.
It's all designed to not get us to live because on paper, scientifically, our bodies could last 120 years right now.
Oh, wow.
So before, they used to last like 400 years, right? So.
But what do you think changed that, though? Like, just, do you think it's genetics and like, over time?
Yeah, it's over time. Life got easier. We didn't have to walk 100 miles or 10 miles to go get a glass of water, out of the well.
Let me throw a pickle in. No, not a pickle. Let me throw something in. What do you think? Okay, we were talking about giants earlier. So you know how the dinosaurs walked the planet a long time ago. Mm-hmm. They've actually found hieroglyphics of humans alongside dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So there was actually humans during the I guess the prehistoric times. Mm-hmm. What do you think that if the giants lived amongst them? You think that could be a possibility that we don't know about?
Yeah, I mean, shit. They're probably the ones eating the dinosaurs. They're fucking.
There are cows to them.
Yeah,
cows and chickens.
How we
no, but I always thought about that because I've always known. I've always been fascinated with the giants that have walked the planet because they really don't put a timeline to it. Yeah. They just say there's giants. But when I just found this out recently that there was hieroglyphics that were found, and I don't remember where, but there was actually pictures of human beings alongside dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Or like humans drawing these dinosaurs, because back then you only draw what you see.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And there has to be some truth to that too.
I mean, especially if you draw a dinosaur 100 feet tall and the human 100 feet tall, but you see another drawing over here with the dinosaur that big and then the us that
Yep,
small.
that
Like
small, yep.
it's specific. And
Yeah.
think about the old architecture. The doors, they're huge. You know, like why the fuck why do you need a door that big? You know?
Yep. What do you think's going on in Antarctica?
Yeah. Oh man, you got me. I don't know. So you gotta tell me about that.
Oh man, that's
I have a story that I've read. It's
You know, if you Google, you know, there's actually a hole in Antarctica, and if you do Google Earth, the hole's not there.
oh shit.
Yep, and there's actually, you know, Antarctica used to be a lot of greenery. It used to be, I mean, hell, I mean, you know, there's a lot of things like there's a big, I think recently within the past few months, a big old ice shelf. I think the size of it was the size of one of our states. I don't know how big it was, but there's another podcaster that I was listening to, and he was just talking about it, and you know, that they found a lot of life. You know, once
It melted.
a part of the ice shelf fell off and it cracked, and they found like a lot of life that there shouldn't have been no life there, which was kind of fascinating. But yeah, over the years I've heard a lot of crazy things. If you go back to remote viewing, that Sean McGriddle or I just completely fucked his name up. Anyway, he remote viewed
McGriddle.
McGriddle. I wish I had my phone. My phone's fucking dead, sitting over there looking at us. But anyway, he remote viewed. There's four mountain ranges on Earth where extraterrestrials reside.
Okay.
One is in Alaska. One mountain range is in, and I'll tell you these offline because I don't want to say the wrong thing to you, but anyway, one is in Alaska. One is a mountain range between Italy and Spain. One is in a mountain range in Australia, and then the last one is in Antarctica. And all these, and when he remote viewed these, they all are in communication with each other, but they don't want us to know of their existence.
Yeah.
Basically, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
So there is, and also too, you know, there's a lot of life in our waters.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
You
That
know?
was coming to my brain.
Dude, see, we use that spidey
That
senses.
shit is terrifying,
Dude,
bro.
there's and that has nothing to do with remote viewing, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of alien bases
Bro,
around the
yeah,
world
think about that shit, bro.
that are in our waters.
It's like when we talk about space, that is right there. You know,
Yep.
like
And think about it. If you think about it, they're not really. If you really think about it, they're not really extraterrestrial.
yeah,
They've been here all along.
yeah, we're the fucking you know.
You know what I mean? Like they've literally been here all along, right beside us,
Yeah.
watching us, and we're probably like ants to them.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're little.
You know what I mean?
Parasites. You
That's
know?
why they don't.
sucking the life out of the earth.
That's why they don't intervene with us. Well, you know. Well, I'm not gonna say they don't because they do. They only intervene whenever we are gonna damage the earth or their home. For
Yeah.
example, like when that nuclear. Actually, and this is true because it was caught on video in Japan when they had that nuclear meltdown,
Yeah.
and also in Chernobyl when they had that nuclear meltdown.
yeah.
So let's go to Japan first. When they had that nuclear meltdown, and this is like, I don't know why, if it was classified, they classified it, or it wasn't broadcast on mainstream media. There was hundreds of UFOs flying around, like, I don't know if they were absorbing all the radiation in the air,
Yeah.
but it was caught on camera, and by thousands of witnesses after the nuclear meltdown in Japan, they seen all these UFOs flying all over the skies, coming out the water,
yeah.
and maybe it was to prevent their radiation from getting worse than what it was. But the same thing happened in Chernobyl
Yeah.
when the Chernobyl meltdown happened. They seen all these UFOs flying around, and the thing about it is too, all these UFOs that people see, they're all around nuclear sites,
Yeah.
either nuclear, power plants or nuclear bases where we have nuclear weapons,
Yeah.
and not here, but all around the world. And that's the thing. It's not just located in one area. It's happening all around the globe,
Yeah.
like literally, and people don't talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They keep it hush hush. They don't say anything.
Yeah.
But the shit's very real, staring us in the face.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier, You know, why is it always an isolated? It's not isolated no more. They're out there. Just look what happened a few months ago all over New Jersey, all over just cities and residential areas.
Yeah.
Dude, and the government was saying, oh, those are just, what were they calling? Oh, those are just drones.
Yeah.
No, sorry, fuckers, but drones don't just sit stationary for hours and hours on time the size of freaking SUVs and cars. You know what I mean? That's like not even unheard of. And then they have witnesses seeing hundreds of drones coming from the ocean waters
Yeah.
off the East Coast.
Yeah.
Like, really? Oh, no, those are drones too.
That's probably where
Like, get the
most of
fuck
them-
out of here.
They probably live a lot of them in the water then.
Yeah, they do. I'm a firm believer in that. I don't know. I've never seen a UFO come out of the water. Have I seen it in the skies aside from that experience I had in Iraq? Yeah, I have. You know, I seen one object one time. It was actually over Houston. It was me and my buddy Felipe, and I was, 21, 22.
Yeah.
And we were driving to some club. It was before your time. It was called Emiliano's on Wayside. We were heading that way. We were going over the 610 Chip Channel Bridge.
I met the lady owner of that place.
Oh, the old one on Wayside.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm looking up at the sky, dude, and I seen this big metallic object. It's just fucking weird, and it like separates into 5 things, and then it goes back into one, and it shoots straight up in the sky. And I was like, wow, like that's crazy, you know. And then
So you're saying that the extraterrestrials aren't really extraterrestrial? This is their.
well, I mean,
Oh.
I'm not saying. I'm just assuming. I mean, it's been recorded and it's been a part of our human history as long as we know.
Did the Emerald Tablets talk about the Anunnaki or no?
Not too much. I think it was more or less about. Yeah, you got to read it. I think it was more or less about Jesus's life, who Jesus was, and not just Jesus, but just about the different about the time frames, you know, during those days. Because honestly, too, there's not a lot of documentation aside from the Bible that talks about that part of history, like at all.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, like a lot of those documents are starting to come to light little by little. I mean, because fuck, the Vatican has most of that shit classified, which I don't know why the Vatican has so much human history classified. It could be
I
that.
mean, you know why.
Well, I know my belief. This is the reason why I think why is because they don't want it to disrupt modern day religion. You know, because what is
That's a good point. Yeah.
because what has religion done? Even okay, so we're going back to the Roman times, right? Christianity really wasn't there, but the Roman Empire, they persecuted everybody
Yeah.
that didn't believe their beliefs.
Yeah.
Okay, Christians and Muslims alike. It didn't matter who it was. Okay, the Roman Empire falls. So then the medieval ages, what happens? Catholicism comes up.
Yeah.
Okay, and the Catholics, they're fucking brutal. I don't understand why. Even like, basically anybody that wasn't Christian, they fucking killed them.
Yeah.
Okay, so Christianity wasn't always the right side or right religion at one point in history. Why? Because we were doing the same shit that Islam people are doing now in modern day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So not history. I think religion was a way to control populations and control society.
Yeah.
And they still use that to this day, even in modern times. And now, in our time, you know, you got all the Islamic extremists that are doing the same shit. They're killing everybody that's not Muslim.
Yeah.
It's just history repeating itself, just on a different side. That's all it is.
Did you mean Islamic or Israeli?
No, Islam.
Oh,
like
shit.
actually Islam. You know,
Isn't Muslim the part of their culture or like religion?
well, no, I mean Muslims is just people, but Islam is a religion.
Oh.
So Islam, they have, you know, if you ever, you know, I've, you know, the Quran. I've read the Quran. Okay, and you know, their religion is actually a very peaceful religion, just like ours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, they have a prophet Muhammad. We got Jesus.
Yeah.
Only differences. I mean, hell, and they could be the same person, and we really don't even know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know.
There's a lot of similarities.
I mean, yeah, there are, but again, you know, I don't like talking about religion because it's a touchy subject, and plus, I don't believe what most people believe. Okay, but I'm more or less on lines of human history and fact.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's also a part of Islam that they're extremists, and anything that goes against the Quran or anything that goes against the Islam religion, you know, they'll kill you for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fast.
Just like the Christians.
Yeah.
Anybody that wasn't Christian or wanted to worship Jesus or Mary or whoever, they fucking kill them with the sword. You know what I mean? And now we just shoot them with guns.
Yeah.
You know? But it's the same repeat of human history, just different sides.
Yeah.
The tides have turned.
Yeah.
It's not this religion now, it's this religion.
Yep.
You know? And it just mind boggles me because it doesn't matter religion or religion, humanity is just always part of death
Yeah.
and carnage and chaos
Yeah.
since the very beginning of time.
Yeah. I also think that when you say there's one government or one world government, I think those are the people that have all the answers.
I mean, hell, I'm pretty sure Elon knows. He just ain't saying nothing. I mean, God, he's the fucking richest man in the world. I mean, if I would assume if I was the richest man in the world, I would want to know about everything. And look what he's doing now. He gets that Neuralink that puts, that transplants. That puts a transplant in your brain
Yeah.
to where you have telepathic abilities. Like that shit. Even before that transplant, guess what? Telepathy is very real.
Yeah.
Like psychokinesis is
Yeah.
very real.
Yeah.
Another thing that the CIA and researched and investigated was like telekinesis. I've seen a person bend a spoon just with their mind, spoon bending.
In person.
Yes, and but it had nothing to do with the government or agency or anything like that. But I've seen it in real life. I've seen a person levitate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that shit blows your mind.
Yeah.
But that shit's very real. Like your mind is capable of doing a lot of things that you don't realize. You
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
You know what
that's what honestly I think that we used to be that way, like in Jesus times or whatever you want to call it before Christ. I think that we used to communicate, or before we could speak, it was telepathic, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why we lived so long, because we were more like not physical, but we were like a spirit. We were spiritual beings born and floating around and living for eternity until we decided that we wanted to die, right?
Yeah.
And the way we would communicate was that, and our energy would always live. And then little by little, we kind of started becoming physical and greedy, and money was invented, and we started becoming like these real beings. Like imagine if you and me never ever heard of birthdays and aging and time, right?
Yeah.
How young would you look, and how much energy would you have, and you know what I'm saying? Because even the fucking years, our year is supposed to be 13 months, 28 days, right? And then I forget if it was King James or something that changed it, right? Like think about October. What is October? It's 8, right?
Yep. And I'm gonna
December
throw
10th.
I'm gonna throw you another pickle in your bucket there. Who created the concept of time? We did, humans.
Yeah.
Okay. So with consciousness, everything is in the now. Everything
Mhm.
everything is
Present.
the past and the present is all the same.
Mhm.
We're the only ones that actually the calendar. The Mayans invented the calendar, right?
Yeah.
Before that, there was no calendar. You know how just like in my military days, one of the things that we learned was basic land navigation.
Yeah.
What did the Indians and the whoever, how did they travel? Looking at the stars,
Yeah.
the constellations.
Mhm.
That was a roadmap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there was no concept of time back then.
Yeah.
It was just night and day, and just that they navigated by the stars.
Yeah.
That's why, like in old cultures, you see constellations. Just like in Egypt, you see constellations.
That's what the pyramids are. Right?
They're all aligned, and
Yeah.
just guess what? And this is another thing that's fucking crazy. The pyramids on Mars and the pyramids on Earth
Yeah.
are aligned the same exact way.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts, bro.
Okay, I seen two different satellite picture of Mars and a satellite picture of us,
Yeah.
and I think it's going towards the Orion constellation or something
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, Orion's belt.
But
Yeah.
they're fucking the exact same places, and that's fucking crazy. And
Yeah.
then there's different pyramids on the Earth.
On Earth, yeah. Yeah.
The Egyptian pyramids, and I don't, maybe the pyramids in Mexico. I don't
Yeah.
know. They're on the same. What do you call that? The I just had a brain fart. What do you call the same longitude or latitude?
Oh, yeah. The
The
coordinates.
the
yeah.
same fucking coordinates,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
But
And how would they know to communicate with them?
Who knows?
Well, they couldn't even fucking travel. Like.
yeah, yeah. But it's all consciousness was one and the same. Just like with space travel, it's one and the same. Eventually, we're not there yet. Probably in our lifetime, we're never going to see it. But how do you think they say that these extraterrestrial spacecraft they fly with their minds?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through consciousness. That's how they control these craft. So basically, if you think about it, and you could literally within a blink of an eye be in one point from point A to point B within a matter of seconds. Not time, not traveling. It's just with thought.
Yeah.
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 And it goes back to time and distance. We human beings created time. They created distance.
Yeah.
and these beings or other wherever they are that have more technological advanced than we are, and they use their minds. They have no concept of time.
Yeah.
That's how they can get anywhere in the universe within a split second.
Yeah.
You know, at least that's my belief. Again, you know, and it's not proven or anything like that, but at least that's my belief. And you know, it's things that I've read and that I listen to a lot of podcasts. You know, of people and scientists. You know, aerospace engineers, physicists. They're all talking about these things and a lot of believers and a lot of experiencers that have been abducted. You know, I've listened to a lot of accounts of different abductees and people that have just interacted with, I guess you can say, alien races that have given them their knowledge, and it's like it's mind blowing. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. Do you think that? Because there's this also this theory that I heard from it's this book called The Seventh Planet, I think. So when they say outer space, the globe, what we know as a globe is like a piece of the actual, not Earth, but like the land, right? So when you think about Antarctica, there's an ice wall.
Yep.
And we're wrapped around it, right? And then there's also this thing called the firmament, right? It's in the Bible, and we talk about it, and it's like a globe. So think about the ice wall and the globe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in one of these. Now think about there's more planet, right? Other places just like Earth, right? But there's different kind of species, different kind of humans. You know?
Do you think Earth is a living entity?
Yes, for sure.
The planet itself is living?
I and this is gonna sound fucked up and psychotic, maybe, I don't know, sociopathic, but I feel like we're a cancer to the Earth.
Maybe.
I feel like humans, we are like destroying it. We don't appreciate it. We're milking it. We're fire. You know, we're killing all the animals, killing all the species.
But it's kind of crazy though.
We feel superior to an animal next to us. You know, like we deserve the resources more than it does.
Yeah, you know, honestly, if I was an alien, I'd be like, man, these fucking people are crazy. Like, they're fucking killing each other all the time. They're fighting over stupid shit. They're fucking crazy. Like, I would literally
that's
think
when
that.
they intervene, though. You're right about that, though. They intervene when it's time for nuclear war.
And you know what's funny? And they still don't expose themselves. I mean, they're caught on camera. I mean, and think about it. I'm pretty sure over the past 200, 300 years, they've always exposed themselves, but the things that we have now, we never had.
Yeah.
Now we can record at with our fingertips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have things that we can actually have actual physical proof, and that's actually why a lot of these things have been coming out in the public now. Is because before the government could say anything and everything, and we'd fucking believe it.
Read it on a newspaper a month later.
And yeah, exactly. And now you got millions, and I'm not exaggerating, millions of people witnessing this shit all over the world. The government can't hide it no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're still not going to admit it, but they can't hide it, you know? I mean, if you think about it, you know what I mean? Because it's not just our government. All these other governments are dealing with the same shit, you know? The Chinese and the Russians are probably the two most governments, aside from us, that have the most research and evidence and all that other bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, Russia for sure. I mean, they were with us head to head for a while, and back in the 60s and 50s and shit with all this stuff.
Yep. So, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe in a few years, I've heard, don't quote me, but 2026 and 2027 are going to be two, heard it through a grapevine, that they're going to be two unique years. Let's put it that way. So,
what's your opinion? What do you think that the whole 2020 was about?
Honestly, I have no idea. I don't know. I can't give you an honest answer about that at all. I just don't know.
Really?
Nope. I'm not even gonna speculate. Like, no, I mean, I can't, you know, but just mark my words, 2026 and 2027, you know, those are going to be two unique years, and I told you so when it happens.
I think that, I honestly don't, I think that people still won't, you know, open their eyes to it. They're too afraid, you know?
Yeah.
It's easy to like, you know, the people that sleep the best? The dumb motherfuckers.
Yeah.
The people that don't learn shit and they don't get this knowledge, and it's like they don't feel fear, right?
Yeah.
But they also don't feel anything else.
You know what's funny though? I mean, that's a yes or no question, because I've been exposed to a lot of things that most people will never hear or see in their lifetime, and I'm not even exaggerating on that. And I can, you know, well, I have problems sleeping just due to other things, but you know, I'm gonna die one day, And I know there's life after death.
Yeah.
You know.
Uh-huh.
You know, all I can do on this planet is live the best life I have, and what time I got left. This is one of the reasons why I want to start this platform, is because I want to help as much people as I can. But I honestly and firmly believe that if you can have a heart and help as many people as you can, that when you reincarnate or when your soul goes to source,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
you will come back and you will live a better life, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you know, like life exists.
Uh-huh.
You know, we're just not going to be in the same vessel. You know,
Uh-huh.
we might not have the memories, but you know, we'll be somewhere else. You know, and with that being said, though, I've watched a lot of reincarnation documentaries too.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
A lot, and a lot of psychic documentaries of children that are, you know, that grow up being psychic. And there's like 4 different type of psychic abilities, and the government's done a lot of research on this shit too. Like everything that's weird and paranormal, the government already knows about it.
Yeah.
Like literally, Skinwalker Ranch,
Yeah.
a lot of paranormal, a lot of UFO, a lot of poltergeist activity. You know,
Yeah.
people always thought that poltergeist had to do with demons and the devil and biblical shit.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's not true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even with UFOs, there's a paranormal aspect to it. You know,
Yeah.
it's called the hitchhiker effect, you know, where they'll be exposed to shit and then they go back home. There's many people that have gone to the ranch and they have an experience over there and they come back home and something follows them back home. And then it's like poltergeist experiences in their own home.
Oh,
They've also had
fuck.
experiences of people, and this is weird too, that pay for, and this has actually been documented cases. You know how they have live video feed that you can subscribe to watch over there.
Yeah.
And there's actually been, I guess the best way to say it is, poltergeist activity coming through the internet or video camera into somebody's home, and then they experience poltergeist effects as well. Like, I'm not even making this shit up. It's actually happened. It's
Yeah.
been documented. The government knows about it. It's been investigated. And they don't talk about that either.
Yeah.
Like, poltergeist activity has nothing to do with religion. I mean, I'm pretty sure maybe if people believe it has to do with angels and demons or whatever that all that is, because that's another thing. Everybody learns all about the Bible, but guess what? No one knows anything about demons or the devil other than they're bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which
Yeah.
is true.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm that type of person. Like, if I'm going to know about one thing, I want to know about everything. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But there's no documentation for you to read up on that. I mean, yeah, they got the Satanic Bible or whatever that is, but there's really no documentation out there on the light or the dark, other than the Bible, the Quran, the modern day religious scripture.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
There's actually like no books you can read to explain like what this is or what this isn't, you know?
Yeah.
And I find that fucking weird too. It's like we're just controlled and just fed information.
They also say that the people that win these wars destroy a lot of the shit or put it in the Vatican or like the Library of Alexandria,
Yeah.
right?
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure there's documentation somewhere that explains human life, human existence, human consciousness. I mean,
Yeah.
goddamn, the government's been researching this shit for 60 plus years.
Yeah, we shouldn't have to.
They
like,
got to know something.
We shouldn't have to dig this hard just to find the shit that makes us who we are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. So, but yeah, I mean, but you know that's going back to the the reincarnation. That's there's a lot of reasons why I want to help people. It's not just because of my own personal problems or yeah it is, but I want to help myself get better, but I also want to help other people. But it's also a spiritual aspect that if I can do good in this life, then maybe my afterlife or whatever comes next is going to be a better experience
Yeah.
for me. You know what I mean? And I've just recently been thinking about that. Actually, the past probably year, ever since I started listening to all these different podcasts and watching all these different documentaries and videos.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good documentaries out there that hardly no one sees
Yeah.
or watches. That's very real.
Yeah.
Especially all the psychic shit and
Yeah.
the psychic kid shit, you know, and then and the afterlife, like there's spirits living amongst us that our own family members that haven't moved on or haven't passed on or haven't went to the source or whatever it is, you know, and that's not even explained a whole lot either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's very real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen a ghost. I've heard. I think I've heard a ghost. Yeah, I've never seen a ghost, but I've heard. I think my dad passed away in my room, and I think I heard his voice one time. My son's had experiences in my room, of the only person I can think of would be my dad trying to get his attention. My son told me one time he was little. He was on his computer playing games. A water bottle flew all the way across the room, hit the wall that he was facing while he was playing his game. Yes, a fucking empty water bottle. Yeah. He runs out of my room. I remember he was fucking white as a ghost. Runs in my room, Daddy. He's like, a water bottle just flew across my room and hit my wall. He was fucking scared as fuck. But he just stayed there. He got in bed with me for about 5-10 minutes, and then he went back to his room playing games. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I've witnessed. He's at night when he goes to sleep, his lights will turn on and off by itself, or they'll flicker.
Yeah.
And then he showed me recordings. He's like, Dad, this is happening. And then I've literally turned off his light. Literally, I'll come wake up the next morning and his light will be on. Like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I've never, like, nothing's ever been in my room. Well, there's been a few times to where my dog's, like, staring at his room and starts barking.
Yeah.
You know, a few times.
Dogs and cats are, you
know that's happened. Oh, man. This is embarrassing. So this actually happened to me, like, maybe about a week ago. This is, like, very recent. And I don't even know if I was dreaming or if I was asleep because, you know, I was telling you I've been having severe insomnia, like, bad. These were one of them. This was morning time. Like, I was barely falling asleep, and I don't even know if I was asleep. But, you know, a lot of times when my mom would leave, my dogs would go into my room. I have 2 little puppies. Well, not puppies, but they're small dogs. Anyway, Hershey would jump on my bed. He jumped on my bed, and he was laying on my pillow. And all of a sudden, I felt like the back of my hair started prickling. And I started getting kind of scared. Next thing I know, Hershey's just growling at something behind me. Like, he's like, like he's growling. And then I just stayed still. I didn't even want to look. I just stayed still. I let the moment pass. Yeah. And then he jumped off the bed onto the floor where Bella was at. Okay. And I think Bella started whimpering or something, but something was literally behind me or something was in the room somewhere. Yeah. I just didn't look.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if I woke up or if I was already awake. It was weird, but that just happened to me like a week ago. And I was like, it's never happened before.
Have you ever experienced sleep paralysis?
Yes.
That shit is.
And I've actually levitated before too.
Oh shit.
So I remember I was probably 7 years old. And I remember waking up and I was probably this far from my ceiling. And the funny thing is I could just move my neck. Sleep paralysis, I'll tell you that story too, because that happened to me once. And it was completely different from this experience. And I couldn't move my body. I was like this with my hands, and, you know, I was like this. And I couldn't move my body. All I could move was my head. And my eyes were open. Yep. And I fucking freaked the fuck out. And soon as I snapped or woke up or whatever, I freaking just fell down on my bed. As soon as I hit my bed, I freaking ran running to my parents' room. Yeah. And I'm like, there's something in my room or something happened. I was a kid. And all I remember is my dad asking my mom, is Jason on drugs? What the fuck? Yeah. I'll never forget that. My dad literally asked my mom, you know if Jason's on drugs or doing drugs? But yeah, that fucking freaked me out, dude. I was like inches from my ceiling.
Yeah.
And then sleep paralysis. Yeah, I remember one time I was falling asleep or asleep, and then I woke up to felt like something that was heavy on my chest. And then it went up to my face and started sniffing, like I can physically hear it. And I thought it was my dog. I had a dog, Dreyfus, because my dog would jump on my bed too at night sometime and lay down on me or with me. And so when I went to hug my dog, there was fucking nothing there. This is right after I heard the sniffing.
Yeah.
And that's when I got fucking scared. Like, I was perfectly fine, you know. You know, it was pitch dark in my room. I couldn't hear nothing. I still had my eyes closed. And I said, hey, puppy, you know, I said something to him. And I went to hug him. And when nothing was there, I could still feel the weight on my chest. But nothing was there. And this was after they started sniffing my face. Yeah. That's why I thought it was my dog, because I heard the dog collar. I felt something jump on my bed. And then I heard it walk. I felt it walk on top of my chest. And then it sniffed me. And then when I went to hug it, nothing was there. And that's when I fucking freaked the fuck out. I just got so scared that I froze. Like, I couldn't even move. Yeah, fuck that. I couldn't even scream. Like, I was literally trying to scream and I couldn't get anything out my mouth. And then I had to just, dude, I was fucking terrified. And I had to let the moment pass. And then, you know. But those are only 2 things that ever happened. After that, I got up, you know, if I literally ran to my parents' room again, and I had told my mom and dad, hey, there's something in my room. I don't know what it is. I thought it was, and I tried to explain to them, I thought it was my dog, but it wasn't my dog because when I went to hug it, there was nothing there, and they thought I was fucking crazy. But yeah. But those were only two things, and those were when I was little. Other than that, nothing's ever happened until what I just told you like a week ago.
All right, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you, bro.
Yep. Good
Thank
times.
you for being here, bro.
Hey, we got to do this again, and like I said, I really want to figure out a way we can actually help and reach people.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to do that. I really do.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment your thoughts and share it for us. Peace.
Thank you. Dude, that's fucking awesome.